Insider Adrian Wojnarowski. Woj, what's the latest that you can tell us on Andrew Wiggins, who's missed the last 22 games here?
Yeah, Malika, it is significant news for this Golden State organization, their playoff aspirations. Andrew Wiggins is returning to the Warriors this week. He's expected to be back in the Bay Area as soon as today. The Warriors play Oklahoma City tomorrow. Unlikely he's going to play that quickly, but he'll be back with the team, and he'll be back with enough time now to get ramped up to play for Golden State in the playoffs. He's been away since mid-February, attending to an ill family member, and he's continued to work out and try to stay in shape. Certainly, it's not the same as walking back into playoff caliber basketball, but Andrew Wiggins, who was an all-star last season, a huge part of Golden State's championship run. It was hard to imagine a scenario where they could make a deep run in the playoffs without Wiggins back. There's certainly a lot of ground for this team to make up. They're trying to stay out of the play-in tournament, stay in the postseason. And now with 3 games left in their regular season, Andrew Wiggins' return to Golden State is imminent.
This is huge news, Woj. They're getting back just over 17 points per game. And like you said, it really was hard to see them making any noise without Andrew Wiggins. Thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA Today. Ramona,
Yeah, well, it's almost like they've been studying for the same test 4 years in a row now. And here we are. Warriors 41-38. They finish versus Oklahoma City at Sac at Portland. They go 3-0, and that's in play because the Thunder are struggling. The Kings have kind of been meh for the last couple of weeks and are feeling the sort of, okay, we did the hard work of our regular season now kind of phase of there. I mean, when you lose to the Spurs at home with Dominic Barlow playing crunch time minutes, among others, you've reached that point of your season. So they are actually, that's why to me, they have a slightly better, they have the best chance of all these teams, according to some of these projection systems, of at least staying out of the play-in. And if they could slide to 6, Woj reported today, Andrew Wiggins is scheduled to return this week to the team, and they need him. Everyone's saying, well, his defense. Yeah, they need that because they're kind of papering over his absence by playing 3-guard lineups, starting Kuminga when they need a guy to defend big wings like Brandon Ingram, etc. But it's not just his defense; it's his spot-up shooting, it's his cutting. He fit. It's his offensive rebounding. Like, he fit right in. He didn't fit right in, but after a year or so of playing for them, he figured out how to find his spots offensively in that system. And then you throw in his defense. There are one team with him and one team without him. And if they have him and they have him at something like full go, I still think they could win the West, particularly if they land in that 6th spot. I'll tell you right now, apologies to Kings fans. If it's full strength Warriors against full strength Kings, I'm picking the Warriors.
Well, and people can make, I know their road record is, it is what it is.
It's 9-30. I can't, you know what? Just that alone, I'm now regretting already preemptively picking the Warriors in a series that might not happen. They're 9-30 on the road. I just don't understand anything that's going on with them. I give up.
All you need to do is steal one. That's all you need to do. Split the series, split the 2 games to start. That's all you need. And I think you go into Sacramento, let's say if that's what it is, in a 3-6 matchup, first game in 16 years in Sacramento, I think the Kings team will probably be a little bit tight. I mean, shoot, I'm just rewinding the clock back and looking at in 2002 in New Jersey, that team had no playoff experience, and that Indiana team rolled in, and we were as tight as can be and wound up losing game 1. So, hey, you get Wiggins back, and we'll see where he is. He probably won't play. What are they're Tuesday they play, right? Is that go Oklahoma City, I think. If we'll see where he is in that Sac and Portland game here, but if he's back, he gives you, it's a different team. If there was no Wiggins here, I would say that the likelihood is that this team doesn't get out of the first round,
which is incredible to think about. And right now they are losing the tiebreak to the Clippers, the Lakers, and the Pelicans. They have already lost the Lakers and the Pelicans tiebreaks. They can win the Clippers tiebreak by finishing with the same division record as the Clippers, which is still in play, and then it would pivot to conference record, and they're going to be ahead of the Clippers in conference record. But right now they are behind in all 3 tiebreaks, and there's just no consistency to them at all. But when they have everyone, I keep saying it, the numbers and even the eye test for at least, like 3 straight games here, 2 straight games there, suggests to me they know how to flip a switch, at least at home. I mean, I just can't believe I still just don't have any understanding other than they foul a little bit more on the road, and opponents on the road are shooting like a gazillion % from 3.
Well, I mean, if you go back to that, it was the New Orleans game, from the mid third quarter to the fourth quarter. I mean, can you put together, 4 quarters of that, right? Can you put together 4 quarters consistently like that? That's your little bit of body of work there, and that was without Wiggins.
New Orleans Pelicans 40 and
to get to this point all year where we could get our whole group together.
It's pastor's paradise for me. You got Steph and Clay, Jordan, those 3 guys out there at the same time. For me as a pastor, that's heaven.
Well, the challenge is you have 3 guys that are capable of putting up 30, 40 points. Steph Curry is the greatest 6th man ever in the playoffs.
We've sort of played this way for many years. Clay, Steph, and Draymond are incredibly comfortable playing this style. It's the same style. It's just different additions.
So this Warriors lineup outscored Denver by 29 points in 11 minutes, shooting a ridiculous 77% from the field, 88% from 3. Most importantly, maybe?
Yeah, most importantly.
0 turnovers. And as you know, Richard, for a Steph Curry team, especially when they're pushing the pace like that, that is tough. There is so much to unpack here. I want just a quick little story, though. Michael Malone has said his parents, they watch the game in their house, but they can't watch it in the same room because they get each other too riled up and too nervous. They have to watch it in different floors. These 2 games, they almost certainly are not speaking during those games. Oh, yeah. They are way too
They'll be out of their misery soon. Well, so they will be.
Especially with this lineup. What makes it so tough to defend, Shanae?
It's the unlimited movement and also the unlimited range that their perimeter players have. And if you think about that, I mean, they're constantly on the go. And that means you can't sleep as a defender. If you overplay, they back cut. And if you're in the paint, they shoot out with a pin down or a staggered screen. They're constantly in motion. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm showing my Disney Channel stuff, but like, we're the boys in motion. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly the way out of your generation. They're the boys, they're the grown men in motion, and they also have the range to knock it down. So no matter where they are, whether it's a backdoor cut to get a 2 layup or, way beyond the arc, you've got Poole, you've got Thompson, you've got Curry that can knock it down. And lastly, I'll say this, we should have known better. I know a lot of times when we talk about the awards and how fine of a margin there has been, most improved, Jordan Poole, if there wasn't that situation with Steph and Clay being out and that oscillation there where a couple of their numbers went up and high, he would have probably been one of the front runners, if not potentially winning this. So we should have known better over the course of the season, watching Jordan Poole play, saying that this is the postseason where he could really be the breakout player.
If the Harrison Barnes, Kevin Durant lineups were known as the death lineup, Stephen A., I mean, I'm tasking you with the person to come up with a name for the lineup. What stood out to you the most?
I said it's Lethal Weapon 3, and I'm going to stand by that. Here's the reality. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have universally been recognized as the greatest shooting backcourt that we've ever seen. Nobody could deny that. Now they've added Poole. Have you seen the range on this brother? Ooh. He's pulling up from logos the way Clay and Steph pulls up from logos, okay? And guess what? He mirrors Steph more than he mirrors Clay. Because as much of a sniper as Clay is a catch and shoot dude. If he's not doing that, he's got your back. He's got his back to the basket. He's posting up smaller players. He's shooting turnaround jump shots. Jordan Poole is the one moving without the basketball, catching and shooting on the run, pulling up from the logo off the dribble, going through 1 man, 2 men, 3 men, and dribbling and taking the ball to the hole and finishing at the basket. The arsenal in this brother's game is so lethal right now. When you combine that with the greatness of Steph Curry, who strikes fear in anybody, you understand, and Richard Jefferson understands this better than anybody at this table. When you step past half court and you are a threat, you extend the defense. Therefore, you expose them to all their vulnerabilities because you don't get to have but so much help. That's when you have to worry about one. Then Clay comes back, last 3 games of the regular season, averages over 33. Well, that's 2. And now you got this brother, who, by the way, was in the G League last year.
G League.
And now he's here.
Yep.
In the NBA, he is that gifted. And then you have Draymond, who's a point forward and a basketball savant. And last but not least, you have Wiggins. You have 5 guys who can handle the ball. 5 guys who have the ability to take their man one-on-one. At least 4 of them who can drop jump shots, and Dre hit a few last night. And 3 of the most lethal shooters in these playoffs. I'm sorry. The Warriors are something special, and I think it's going to take the Phoenix Suns to have a chance to stop them, because when you shoot the ball like that and the 3 of you are aligned and in sync with one another, it's one thing to have the talent. It's another thing to be in sync, and they are in sync. And I know it's not a matchup. Denver's not the real litmus test. I get that.
I guess
but
we
my
have to
God.
give you your credit.